All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and culture and politics and whatever else I want to talk about in real time for a couple of real people just like you there and like me here. So, the story I'm going to cover, I want to give a little hat tip to the mysterious Mr. O, who sent me the link to this story, and I think it's appropriate based on what's going on in the world right now. Um, but I'm going to go easy on the story. We're going to have a little fun with it, but we're also going to say probably not a good idea to do this stuff right now. Anyway, before I get there, my friend Tom, who runs a record label down in Texas, sent me this new album by Scream Therapy, Paul Lydell's Scream Therapy. The album's called Are You Ready? There's a wrecking ball going through a wall. Quite honestly, I'm not ready, Paul. I'm not ready for this. I'm not Tom. I like it. It's good stuff. It rocks. It sounds a lot like the stuff that we were listening to in the late 80s into the early 90s. All right. But this is rocking stuff. And there's Paul there on the back, toward the front, in the middle. And he was in two pretty prominent and important rock bands back in the day, Dangerous Toys and also Dirty Looks, who were surprisingly popular during the heyday of that style of music. And Scream Therapy kind of brings that style back. So if you enjoyed the music of the late 80s, the rockin' stuff, my guess is you should probably check out Scream Therapy at the very least, and you might even like it. And if you don't lose anything. In fact, you can order one of these from Paris, and I will put a link to their humble but very interesting record label down in Texas. All right, so this story. Here's the story of an angry person. Sorry. Elon Musk, right? Apparently a dummy resembling Elon Musk was beheaded on stage during a rock music festival in Chicago this weekend. So, two things of note here. Chicago already has a lot of violence during the weekend. Is this a good idea? I would say no. Okay. Now, the dummy was dressed in Elon's signature Department of Government Efficiency shirt and jacket, and it was decapitated during a performance by heavy metal band Gwar at what they call Riotfest on Saturday. What could go wrong there, right? Now, I'm sure Scream Therapy would like to be at Riotfest. That would be my guess. I don't know if they would do any beheadings, but it gets more interesting because apparently they replicated the performance and brought out a President Trump dummy. Some people would say that's a redundant phrase, and I'm not going to entertain that. I'm sorry. I like President Trump. Okay, so let's be nice. But he was given a similar treatment with both dummies being rigged to spray fake blood to the audience. Oh, well, when I go to a show, I want to be sprayed with fake blood, don't you? I mean, these guys, I guess they're having a good time. This is their clientele. Anyway, but this is where I might think these guys are just equal opportunity offenders. It's not the first time it says that the band has performed a stunt like this, with fans sharing footage of a dummy of then President Joe Biden being beheaded at a previous show. So apparently they did this to a Biden dummy. Now, I'm going to add a little commentary here. What's interesting is the dummy of President Joe Biden was apparently a lot more lively than the actual Joe Biden. Boom. I'm here all week. Hey, buy me a coffee. If that was probably not worth the coffee. All right. So that was my attempt at humor. The performance came on the same weekend where over 100,000 people assembled in Arizona at a memorial for Charlie Kirk, whose shooting prompted many commentators and politicians to call for a reduction in violent political rhetoric. Now, I am a free speech fan, and I am a free speech absolutist. So, as much as I think maybe what Guar did at Riot Fest was maybe distasteful and maybe not a good idea, I'd have to say they have a right to do it. And the fact that it was a dummy and not an actual real person, you know, I think I'm okay with it. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. And by the way, I don't approve of them doing this to former President Biden either. I don't. I made a joke about it, but overall, this kind of stuff really isn't funny. The problem is with people out there who are using a lot of psychotropic medications these days. And maybe too much Tylenol after what I heard yesterday. I don't know. Do we want to push a psycho over the edge as they get approval from you? Look, they did this to Elon Musk. Now, someone, I'm sure anyone, would get a lot of publicity if they were able to shoot Elon Musk or to do something to Elon Musk. I mean, he is the richest man in the world. These people don't understand that maybe you need to trim the size of government like trillions and trillions of dollars, just a few trillion, right? I don't think they're going to find trillions. They could find trillions if they really wanted to. And I think Elon is actually frustrated that Trump doesn't want to do more. That's what I think what's going on these days. But they did hang out together at the Charlie Kirk event. So maybe they're friends again. Who knows? I don't know. Bottom line here is I do believe in free speech and freedom of expression. I don't like this particular thing where you decapitate something. But keep in mind, we are at a heavy metal festival, and it's called Riot Fest. All right? So you have to kind of expect some weird things, including the fake blood being sprayed on the audience. So anyway, and by the way, it was probably a lot more violent on the streets of Chicago than it was at Riot Fest. All right? So there's a lot of irony. There's a lot of stuff here that you could kind of focus on and say, yeah, this is bad, but there are things that are much worse, including the actual decapitations, which would be a really bad thing. So, yeah, I'm going to side with free speech, but I'm going to also say I think this is really distasteful. All right. So here's something not distasteful. I'll put a link in the description so you can check out Scream Therapy. You can listen to it. You can buy it. You can get a t-shirt if you want. All this over at Paris.com, Paris Records. Great record label from Texas. And my friend Tom, who runs the label and has always taken care of me. And he's one of the, you know what I love about Tom? Like if I ask him for stuff, he'll send it to me. The other record labels, they'll say, hey, you know, I'll plug this for a week. I'll talk about it. I really like it. Yeah, sorry, we can't send you out a CD. Sorry. It's too expensive. Okay. If I sell one of those for you, it's worth it, right? I've made it up. But that's the thing. I don't think they have a lot of faith that they're going to sell physical copies of anything anymore. But old school fans, people that were listening to Dirty Looks and Dangerous Toys, they're going to want a copy of this. That's my guess. So anyway, Scream Therapy. We all could use some Scream Therapy. And yeah, there's more to life than just screaming and yelling. There is a relationship that you can have, pivot here, to Jesus. And Jesus likes the yellers and the screamers. In fact, he probably would hang out with the people at Riot Fest. Yeah, he probably would. He'd say, hey, you guys, I'm here because you really need me. Those other people over there, they think they've got it all figured out. They don't need me, or at least they think they don't need me. But I know you guys need me, and I'll be here for you when you decide that you want a relationship with me. That's the gospel, folks. It's not complicated. It's not hard to understand. But I talk about it all the time that Jesus used to hang with sinners. He'd be at Riot Fest. He'd be at all the places that you would think, ew, why would Jesus go there? Because Jesus is looking for sinners. He's not looking for saints. That's the bottom line. So yeah, if we were all saints, we wouldn't need a savior. Again, you just have to put two and two together. And I know math today is controversial, but I think this is an easy equation. Here's the equation, all right? And then I'm out of here. Jesus plus nothing equals everything, all right? So there you go. God bless. See you soon.